Y'all ready? This is part 2 of the whiskey guitar project. I can't tell you how much I really enjoyed working on this guitar. You know, she fought us a few turns. She may even won a couple of rounds, but you'll see in the end, I think we saved this one. I told y'all from the beginning of my channel, we were gonna save rock and roll, one guitar at a time. Well, here's one for the books, man. You like what you're seeing? Hit that like and subscribe button, man. That'll really help us out. All right, guys, keep it rocking. So we've gotten this all flattened back out so we can reattach the tremolo. I've got the tremolo ready to go, but I have to wait on the neck to dry. So I decided I'd go ahead and dry fit the pickguard. So whenever I did that, what I found was there was so much buildup on the paint and epoxy or whatever they used on this that the 5-way switch was hitting. So what I ended up having to do is kind of Dremel that area out to get enough clearance for that switch to fit in without touching. If you come across this issue and you have a switch that is hitting anywhere on a Telecaster or a Fender or basically any guitar, because these areas are shielded, that will cause noise to come through your system if it's touching anything, and it grounds out, and therefore it could cause grounding issues and cause your pickups and things not to work. So if you do come across that, a Dremel tool and a little grinding wheel, and you could take care of that pretty easy. That took me about maybe a couple of minutes to get this area clear for the pickguard. The pickguard we're going with, I have some Shure pickups. Very excellent pickup system. I've had this on a couple of my guitars and really liked it. And I thought, I have a guitar I'm currently working on that are doing some swaps, and they have good pickups in it. So I didn't mind taking this off my guitar for now and putting it on this one, and giving him that option of this, because they're great pickups. I'm going to sell them to him for pretty cheap. The ones that came off of it, you see this is bent. It's because this was hitting the bottom of the dill, and the only way you can get it to fit was to bend it a little bit. That's probably caused a lot of issues. I could tell by the post there was grounding issues, all kind of things, unplayable really. But these pickups are cheap. They're ceramic magnet pickups. Not sure who made them. Horrible. They've been painted over, glossed over. Really everything in here is pretty much crap at this point. I'm probably going to save those pots. They look like pretty good pots. They're mini pots, but they look like they're good pots. They turn real nice. So I'm probably going to save these pots, use them for a different project. Everything else I'm going to trash. Not worth my time or effort. So I'll just trash everything. I'll clean those pots off. This switch is garbage. Like I said, it's all bent over and not worth even trying to save. So throwing everything away but the pots. I'll keep those. This, much better. It's got all cloth wiring. It's really a great pickup system. It's actually got coil split for the pickup, so you can coil split it if you want that traditional Stratocaster sound. So we've also replaced, this had a chrome plate on it, and I thought the black looked much better on this particular guitar, so I went ahead and switched this out to black. I soldered it in, and I soldered in my other points because I have a little bit of work to do here. When I get this screwed in, the pickguard is just a little long on the neck pocket, so I'm gonna just use a file and file that back. Everything else is going really good. The neck is drying right now. I'm looking forward to putting the neck on, getting that tremolo system done, and then from that point it's just adjusting. So although this has been a heck of a ride so far, I think it's going to come together pretty nicely. So let's go ahead and mount this pickguard. Remember when we started, we had those big, ugly, Frankenstein looking screws in there. I understand what they were going for as far as the theme of the guitar. It looked, to me, it looked a little over the top. So we're gonna take these back to where it looks more like they're supposed to. So we filled those holes. When I went to dry fit the pickguard, I went ahead and drilled out the holes for the screws, got them redone. Probably should have videoed it, but I will tell you, some of the stuff is kind of boring to watch, so I didn't feel like you guys would actually enjoy watching that. But everything else is going together pretty nicely. Remember when we took these off, they were all kind of crooked and screwed in. It's because the hole was routed a little big and they don't know how to screw in things to like an edge without putting the screw in sideways. So I filled those holes and I made it to where they sit nice and flush. So everything is going real well so far. I have zero complaints. I'll make sure these pickups, yep, they're still coming up and down. Yeah, we're moving freely. Everything's going good there. I think what we ought to do now that we got this secured is go ahead and do a tap test. A tap test, if you didn't know, I'll pull this out a little bit. Yeah. Tap test is just to see if your pickups and switches and everything are on correctly. If you have any grounding issues, it really does tell you about this time. So what I do is just simply plug it in, turn my volumes up, and then tap. So I'm in the rear position, so the only thing that should be making sounds through the amp is that rear one. So one of the tricks that when you're having to mount the trim in, my suggestion is go ahead and put your pickguard on prior to mounting your tremolo system, because you can set it forward or backward a little bit, and most of the time these cutouts here are pretty accurate. So what I'll do is I'll put this on first, then come back with the trim, and once I get the neck on, I use these two as my guide strings to make sure that I'm evenly spaced on the side of the neck. And then I will utilize the straight line here to make sure that I'm straight, and then I mark it, drill it, and then we're done. We put it on there. I took a guitar neck and we are mimicking, we're trying to match kind of the style of this one. I think it turned out pretty good. We're gonna have to, this has a True Oil on it, and it left a little rough. So I think what I'm gonna try to do is do a little bit of wet sanding on this with some like 1000 grit sandpaper. I'm hoping that will smooth it all out. So we'll get, got some water here, a little bowl of water. Got some 1500 grit sandpaper, I think that'll work. And of course I'm gonna use my block here, which is just an eraser. I started using that eraser with the sandpaper several years ago, and it works really well. I think what we're gonna try to do is work on this first. I'm gonna bring you guys down a little bit so you can see what we're doing. It matches pretty good. What do y'all think? This being the newer one, or the one that I just got redone. This being the original, the one that's twisted all to hell. I think he'll be pretty happy with that. I think this matches the guitar better than that. Pretty cool. So let's get some tuners. Put some tuners on this thing. The holes look to be about the same. We'll find out in just a second. Yeah, I'm gonna hone those out a little bit. A little tight, but I'm gonna check all of them. See if they're all tight or if it's just that one. No, it's tight. So these are the honing tools that I use. All they are is they're really sharp like razor blades, but they're just spikes like this. And there's two sizes here. There's one bigger and one smaller. We don't need the big one, we need the small one. And you got this little T-rod. Pull you over here so you can see. Got this T-rod that you push through, and you just twist. Now when I do this, I try to go over a trash can. And it doesn't take a whole lot to get them to the right size. See how that honing, it didn't take a whole lot. It's set real nice. All these are sitting in there beautiful. Show you a little trick on this too when you're mounting these. Make sure they're straight. What I normally do is get them all in like this, and then I'll get the screws put on the front side and just hand tight them. Don't get them real tight, just to kind of still be able to move them, but they won't fall out on us. Because we have to adjust them, make them very straight. If you don't get them straight, if one of them is just a little off, and you can tell it from across the room. So we're gonna try to make sure all these are nice and straight. Right now we've got all those snug. I'm gonna leave this out here. Tighten them up a little bit. Move the trash can out of my way. Put up my honer tools. Oh, wrong bag. Yeah, if you don't have a set of these, go get you a set, man. I got them at, I think I got these at Harbor Freight for not a whole lot of money, so I use them a lot. Pickguards, whenever you order like a replacement pickguard, there's so many different size pot sizes that they'll send new pickguards with small holes, and they want you to resize those. So, all right, so now we need a ruler. And what I do is I put that ruler against this edge and just push everything to where it sits flat. Turn all these pegs, make sure they look nice and evenly spaced. Just a little bit off, there we go. Okay, that's where they need to be. So now we need to drill these holes with the smallest drill bit we can find. Now I'm gonna stand up when I do this, guys, because I've learned you gotta be pretty careful not to drill all the way through. So I'm gonna stand up so I can control that drill just a little bit better. You don't have to go very deep. Oh, where is mine? And I'm just going to do one at a time here. What I do is make sure with my ruler that I am straight. Looking good. Most of my videos are shot first thing in the morning. Y'all probably noticed that because I'm always drinking coffee. Although I drink coffee a lot, I try to limit it to the morning. The older I get, the more sensitive I am to caffeine. And get the high one here. That will go. I've also seen people make the mistake of drilling these too tight. You should be able to move it a little bit so you can adjust. So it shouldn't be loose, it should just be snug enough to where you can still move that tree to one side or the other if needed. Seen some of them get so tight in there you couldn't move it and it wasn't quite lined up right and it screws up. It screws up the there we go. Whenever you put the strings in, they're not lining up properly. They come to this tree and then turn, and they shouldn't. They should go straight. These trees are just meant to hold it down. All right, our neck is done, ready to mount. All we have to do now is take this tape off. I think we're ready to actually mount that neck on. Are y'all ready to mount that neck on? It's been a journey, hasn't it? I fit the pickguard on here. It hung over just less than 1/8 of an inch, so I had to go in and sand that down. Got that to where it's supposed to be. We're gonna dry fit this neck for the first time. Oh yeah, yeah, fit good. Now what we want to do is we want to tighten these two. I've seen it explained 2 different ways. Tighten these first, cross them. What I like to do is I like to make sure my base of my guitar neck is sitting really as tight as I can get it to the body. So I will tighten these 2 first, come back and adjust if I need to. Come back and adjust the top around if needed. It really doesn't. It's sitting nice and flat and flush. Yeah, man, that matches pretty well. What do y'all think? You got a little bit more yellow in here. This is a little bit more brown, but the overall, man, it's pretty damn close. And that neck is just amazing. The fret ends are all nice. The fretboard has been rounded off. Let's just cross our fingers that it's all straight. All right, next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna set the bridge in, and then I'm gonna put in my measuring strings before we drill the bridge holes. And what we're gonna be doing is we're gonna make sure that the strings are evenly spaced here, really along this bottom edge, before we drill the holes. Get those strings kind of tight. And that looks evenly spaced as far as side to side. I have to do this. Take a little bit of tension off this string. And just a little bit too much. Put my strings on just a little too tight that first time, but we can tighten them back up now that I got it a little loose, and then use the tuners. And that, my friends, is where we want it. So what I did is I pulled these tight, and what I'm doing is I'm looking right down the neck at the strings and looking at the spacing between here and here, making sure that that spacing is right. And once I got it right, once it's pretty dead on, I marked those holes, and now what we're gonna do is we're gonna drill those 4 holes. Leaving the strings on, we'll put this trim on, and then we'll take and drill the other ones. So We got that marked. We got everything done there. These are the screws we're going to be using, so I'll drop these over here. Now what we'll do is go ahead and put our springs on. We are going to hardtail this. So what we'll do is we'll put these 3 springs on and then draw those screws back tight into, not tight, but into the body. Make sure it holds in place. Thought it was, that trim was sitting on top of that pickguard, but it's not. It's just sitting right up against it. Which is, again, okay because we're hardtailing. Dude, that's pretty damn straight, man. That is freaking awesome. All right. It's time to string this bad boy up. And then a complete setup to include neck relief, nut gap. We got to go through the whole gamut on this thing to make sure that everything's right. But so far, so good, man. I'm very, very pleased on how things are turning out on this. Remember, we took a non-playable guitar, which was in horrible shape, and we are rebuilding it for this guy because it's a kind of a sentimental value. But we're rebuilding this thing so he can be proud of it and his mom can see him play it. It's really high right now, but we are going to worry about first, because this guitar hasn't had, this neck hasn't had strings on it forever. We're going to look at the action or the relief first. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Alright, we need to add in a little bit of relief there. Not a lot. Let's add in a little bit of relief. Right on, right on. So we know our truss rod's working because it gave us relief. Now that we got that relief set, let's look at that nut a little bit. See how well I put that nut in. Did a little pre-measuring off the old one. All right, so we got our nut height and our relief set. Let's go ahead and do action next. This is what I'm kind of worried about, is the action, to be honest with you. If I can get the action right, everything else will fall in place. All right, we got our action set. We're sitting at 6s, which is a good happy medium. To get any lower, we would need to do a shim on the neck. And I'm not willing to do that at this point. I want to see if I can intonate it and everything without doing that. And if I can, then good deal. All right. So let's go ahead and start the intonation process. I'm going to do it laying down like this instead of in this sitting position because I'm just trying to get it close at this point. When I fine tune it, I will put it in the playing position and do it again. All right. Intonating. Let's hear how it sounds. This is the first time we're plugging it in. First time with this neck. First time with this, well, it's just the first time all around. So let's just plug it in and get a little test drive. What do y'all think? Hopefully I wired this thing up right. It is sounding and playing pretty damn well, to be honest with you guys. All right, what y'all think about that one? Pretty cool little project, right? This is it. This is all done. So let's talk about what we got done on this guitar. When we got it in, it was a holy mess. It had someone attempted to make an art project out of it. It looked cool, but couldn't play. Wouldn't play at all. Electronics were not good. The neck was crooked. They had kind of very big screws all the way around the pickguard. The trim didn't work. The trim was actually set crooked and set up. Trying to compensate, I think, for the neck bend, but it didn't work. It didn't work. About the only thing that was good about the guitar was the body's kind of cool. And the tuners. The tuners were actually upgraded and they're locking tuners. So I took the tuners off there. So let's start at the very top and then talk about everything that we did. So this was a neck that I had from a different project. It was a good neck. It was solid. The frets were in pretty good shape. So what we did to prep it for this guitar is we completely leveled, crowned, polished the frets. We installed these tuners. We had to take the neck because it was a typical color. You had to try to match that neck to kind of the style, the artistic style of the guitar. So we had to do some staining, some finishing. We used True Oil and some walnut stain. I think it turned out pretty good. If you feel the back of this neck, it is as good as any neck I've ever felt as far as the smooth and playability. It feels like a modern C. I did some measurements and it measures out about the same specs as a Strat. We did have to change the nut. The nut on it, on the original nut on this guitar was just plastic. We changed it out with a bone nut. We rolled the guitar fret edge, the fretboard. We rolled the fretboard on both sides. It feels amazing. Feels like it's been played for 30 or 40 years. We replaced the neck plate. It looked like when we got the guitar that somebody just took the strings off and used spray shellac or something and just sprayed everything. So all the hardware, the pickups, everything was just disgusting, sprayed over. Even the strap buttons, the neck plate. When we got the guitar, they had blocked this and didn't have a claw system in there at all. And what they did is they welded, or they soldered this wire onto the actual block of the tremolo system. So we corrected all that. We put it on there. What else did we do? One of the big items we had to do was see the lightning looking stuff. It was underneath where the screws are for the tremolo system. So the tremolo the screws couldn't fit flat and straight. So we had to completely straighten that back out. Turned out beautiful. We changed this output jack cover. It was chrome and it looked brand new. I had a black one here at the shop, so I went ahead and switched it out. It looks a lot better with the black. Pickups. They're Sir pickups. I've had them for about a year now. Had them on a guitar. They sounded great. I wanted to go with a different direction for that guitar, so I ended up switching those out. So I put them on this guitar, and I will tell you, it sounds and plays beautifully. It also has a coil split if they want to split the coil for the pickup. Setting the trim system up. It looked like when they tried to do it before, they rounded a few spots that weren't right. And they tried to get it to fit. Well, it wasn't the trim system that wasn't working correctly. It was actually the neck. The neck was the whole issue the whole time. They tried to compensate that by moving this trim around, and then they couldn't get it straight. It was just a holy mess. But she plays and looks beautiful now. Whiskey project. I'm gonna call it Whiskey Project because the original neck in a Sharpie right here, there was the word whiskey. So we're gonna call this our Whiskey Project. I'm very proud of how it turned out. Turned out better than I really thought it would. So that's gonna be the video for today.